Cooked it with 0 seconds left to go.
We're here.
We're here, I think. Get this
Maybe.
out of the way. Looks like we got Tom in the chat already. That's cool. Anybody else in here?
Tom's ready.
Man, I'm still not feeling good from last week, dude. I don't know. I've had like a nasty, like a dull headache for like 8 days now. Super cool. Man, bunch of people in here. Rob's in here. We don't normally see Rob anymore.
Popping back in.
Yeah. Evening, everybody. Oh, yeah. Hopefully this headache just goes away soon. I'm tired of taking Advil. Super annoyed.
Maybe it's a withdrawal from something. You've not been drinking caffeine.
No, I don't think I've changed anything. Try not to do that anyway. Work has actually been making me work. I know the feeling. Yeah. Um, I think it was the week you were absent. I had mentioned that I had changed the one fan in my laptop because it was making that racket. Remember? So I
Right.
changed the one fan that was making that racket, and then last week the other one started making that same noise. So I did have to take it apart. When I changed the first fan, I looked at the other fan and I'm like, ooh, there's a whole lot of things like on top of that fan, like rigid, like I don't want to call them ribbon cables because it was like in a rigid housing and like they snapped down. I'm like, I don't want to screw that up and not have a working computer.
Right.
But then I was forced to do that the other day.
And it.
So now it has two new fans in it.
So the old fan, or the new one that got replaced, blew a bunch of crud over to the other one.
Dude, I don't know.
Computer stuff.
Yeah. Tom says he's the only tech available for 3 states, so he's got some work. Sounds like some other people were smart and took vacation days that you should have taken, Tom. You gotta get on that. I hate it when work makes you work, especially on like short weeks, holiday weeks.
Yeah, I'm trying to mitigate what I got going on this week because I'm trying to go out to West Texas for Thanksgiving, so Thursday to Sunday. So trying not to fill my plate up too much.
Yeah,
We'll see how much.
I didn't take anything new in towards the end of last week, so today, tomorrow, and Wednesday are basically just finish stuff up, knock stuff out, and then Friday and Saturday I'm busy. I have a project I'm working on with my buddy Matt, and then of course it's supposed to be super shitty weather. Today was like 45 degrees and gray, and then the rest of the week it just goes sucks.
Like the temps or
Everything, the temperature and snow. Like Thursday morning, we're supposed to have like 3 to 5 inches of snow or something stupid like
oh
that.
oh
Yeah, and then I think Saturday the high is like 15 or something dumb.
oh my gosh, my knees are starting to hurt hearing
Mine too.
that. Oh man,
Yeah,
but it was like 70 here, and then all of a sudden this north wind came down, dude. It was probably like 55. I had to go and grab
it's
a jacket.
it's very windy outside here right now.
Like,
I drove the Jeep back to the shop today. I drove my truck in today because I needed to haul some stuff, and then I drove the Jeep back in here tonight, and it was all over the freaking place.
I'm pretty sure when it gets below 70 around here, like jackets and sweatshirts just spawn up out of nowhere, so everyone has something to put on.
They just appear.
Yeah,
18 in Minnesota at the moment. No, thank you.
You asked for that though. If you're in Minnesota, you know what you're getting into up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I should be surprised that it gets cold here because it does it every single year. But like,
It's
dang,
kind of one of the reasons I came down here.
yeah, it doesn't make it any more fun.
Yeah.
Crappy.
Yeah,
Southern
he's
Canada. Yep, Tim from TRD's in here. How's it going? Yeah, who is this TRD Adventures guy? He used to do live streams every Thursday, but he quit doing that, so I'm not really sure.
I don't know what his motive is.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. Well, what else did you do in the last 2 weeks? Anything good?
2 weeks. What did I do yesterday? Shoot. I don't know, man. Just been all right. So last week of work was kind of slow, so I ended up gutting the back of the GX. So if anybody's familiar, you open up the big swing door on the GX 460s. There's like 6 inches of plastic, and that's the third row. So I don't ever plan on utilizing that third row, so I removed it all. With the old Lowe's and bought some. They make like kits. You can get online. They're like $850 for some milled like particle board that some bed lines. Um, I'm making it sound really shitty. I'm pretty sure it's a nice product. People buy it. But I just happen to have a saw and a staple gun. So I bought carpet and plywood, and I made a nice platform. I don't have one over here, but I actually 3D printed some little supports to go underneath because there's like a little box that's my key fob receiver that I don't want to get smashed. So protected that. That was kind of the biggest thing that happened to me. Other than that, just been getting out and doing some bike riding and enjoying the cool weather we've been having. So take full advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, I had just been knocked down with whatever this headache thing is, but other than that, just trying to keep it moving, you know. I'm still trying to do the programming for the rear links on the Swiss with the grab and release and re-grab. So there's like an attachment for this machine that I'm supposed to have to be able to do this, which is like it's like a physical clamp that when you unclamp the chuck to retract, it clamps the material so the material doesn't move back.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have that. But I do have an adjustable guide bushing in front of it, so I can snug the guide bushing up enough to where the material won't automatically go back. But I have to try to figure out how to trick the machine into thinking that it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like
Because
like,
yeah, because it doesn't want to do that. It doesn't want to do that procedure without that physical clamp. So I have to figure out how to make it think it's doing that. There's an electrical connector. It's an electrical piece. So there's an electrical connector on the machine. So I need to figure out some sort of like Arduino board or something to plug into that when it gets a signal, it'll close a contact. You know what I mean? It'll like a relay or of some kind or whatever. To trick the machine into thinking that it's actually physically clamping the material when it's not.
There's at least that last 3D printer I had, it had a stop switch. It's a little, I don't know, something like that might work.
Yeah, I don't know. It just has to see that it clamped is what it is. Well, add an air cylinder to stop advancement. Well, that wouldn't do what I want it to do, because I need where that cylinder would have to be mounted. I need that to retract. So I would need the air cylinder to extend at the exact same rate as the retract. Yeah, it wouldn't work that way.
Josh, that's a
I
terrible
can just
idea. Don't ever type that comment.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I've been battling with. Not really battling with, but just trying to wrap my head around how to actually make it function and make it like permanent. Plus, just not having enough time to stand there and do it. You know what I mean? You can think about it all day long, but until you actually physically try to do it, it's like, well, I think I've got a good handle on it, but then you never know. It might not work at all.
Yeah. And given the price of some of that stuff, you kind of want to be for sure before you just hit go.
Yeah, I mean, if I accidentally backfeed voltage somewhere that shouldn't have voltage and fry something, it could be very, very expensive.
Right.
Like expensive enough that I just go, yeah, that was a fun run.
Oh, oopsies.
Yeah, whoops. So we'll see. It's. I'm sure I'll get it figured out. I just haven't had the time to stand there and figure it out.
Right. Well, we're gonna need links made up soon.
Yeah.
My friend's been waiting like 6 weeks for his links, and with zero response to any emails, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get it figured out. I do have both the front upper and front lower links figured out for
Nice.
this endeavor. It's the rear upper and rear lower links that are longer than the throw of the machine.
Right.
That not only is it just that the parts are longer than the throw of the machine, but that also creates a problem on the secondary side of the machine, that the links are also longer than the throw of the secondary side of the machine. So when you grab it with the sub spindle, there's an air cylinder to eject the link out of the sub spindle, which works fantastic. No problem. I've got that figured out. But the link is too long for the throw of the machine, so it'll eject it, but it can't eject it all the way because it hits the other side of the machine. So I have to. I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to remove one of the tools out of the secondary side and try to eject through a hole where a tool is supposed to be. And so, and then I'm like, okay, well, if I 3D print like a little basket or something that goes into that tool holder and eject the part through that into a basket, then they won't fall down into the oil and chip tray, and then I don't have to go fishing for them.
They're not going to be corroded.
Yeah, it's stainless, so that won't be a problem anyway. But yeah, sounds like first world problems. In a third world country, they would have it done by now. I know they would
By hand,
but
with a
yeah,
nice
by hand.
flame butane torch and a
Yeah,
little blade.
yeah. So never mind the fact that I've been working on other stuff too. So it's just
Right.
yeah, first world problems. Just trying to figure shit out on my own.
It gets like that. That's life.
Yep. I wish I knew someone locally that had ran one of these specific machines before, because if you haven't ran like a very, very similar model of Swiss lathe, you're learning foreign language too. They're all different. So I don't know. Need to find me an old timer that's actually done it.
An old Switzerland man.
Yeah, find me an old timer that's done it. These machines died before the internet started, so there's not a lot of information available online either. Yeah. So Titans of CNC, I actually messaged what's his name, Donnie from Titans of CNC, and I asked him a couple questions on Facebook, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, I have no freaking clue." He goes, "That's not at all how my Tornos machine. It's a Tornos. It's a Tornos machine." He goes, "That's not at all how my Tornos gets programmed, so I have no idea." I'm like, "Cool, cool."
Thanks. Gives me a lot of hope.
So then, yeah. So then I was emailing back and forth with actual Tornos, and the problem I was having was I couldn't get it. I couldn't figure out how to make it thread to begin with. So like I bought the manuals from Tornos for this machine, whole 9 yards, and the programming example that they have in the manual wouldn't work. It just kept giving me different alarms and whatever. So then emailing back and forth with actually Tornos, the guy was like, "Well, try this other code." I'm like, "Well, that's not anywhere in the book." And just changing this one number to that number gives me a different error code. So, like, what inputs do I need to put in with that? So he sent me that list, and I'm like, where's this located in the manual? Because it's not in the manual you guys sold me. Like, and he didn't never answered that question. So
right.
I'm like, Aaron Stacy does not run Swiss machines. He runs these big lathes. So anyway, it's a project that needs to happen ASAP. But it's also a project that I can't do anything else while I'm trying to do that. I have to focus on that, which means I need to get these other things done so that people aren't bugging me about those while I'm trying to do that.
So you're a busy
maybe,
guy.
yeah, maybe next week, or yeah, maybe next week. I'm trying to get all this stuff knocked out today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, so that like Monday and Tuesday I can stand in front of the machine and handle it. So you're saying no wheels yet? No wheels yet.
Paul with the zinger.
Anyway, well, we've made them wait 17 minutes so far. You wanna start talking about this new shenanigan?
Sure. Well, so it's been quite a bit in quite a bit of time in like development, and it all kind of started with this. Some of you may know the mullet. Um, a lot of you, I don't think, quite know that this was kind of like a little cheat code. We never really advertised the link variant too much. A lot of people have like the leaf spring one, but had all of the high-low characteristics, a little bit higher belly clearance, but the kind of the things that made it different was you could do the dual servo mount, which a lot of people were into. Kind of wanted to make that its own separate platform, but the things that differentiated it from the mullet and stuff wasn't like too substantial, so I didn't really want to keep going with it. So I kind of reached out. This is like a whole predicament with like the team. I wanted input on things they looked for in like new frames and stuff that would be nice and convenient to add. So kind of ended up with, well, a few of you seen the flat belly mullet. That's what kind of spawned that. And then from there came the Sever, which the Sever kind of refers to us getting away from like the realm of like Sorka rules, because they don't really know what they're. I can't get with like the rule sets that are constantly evolving, so we're just gonna do our own thing. Me and Brett kind of talked, and all that stuff kind of hinders the progression of the sport or hobby, if you will, and at least in my eyes. So we're just kind of doing our own thing. This is what we came up with, which is a very streamlined. This kind of takes like all the positive attributes of the C1 Pro with the tucked up belly, and it takes all the forward bias benefits from like the high low and mullet platforms.
Yeah.
From there, kind of took it a step further after like some good feedback from the team, which there's quite a few team members here that help out quite a bit. So I think I know there's Jake, Colin, Zach, and even for early on in the year,
Hibby has one too.
Hibby, and early on in the year, the Chafin brothers, they were a big help in like kind of like streamlining, figuring out the hardest thing was like the direction to go. So all those people combined kind of like helped out, kind of helped make this come to fruition. Because all I need usually is just like a kickstart for ideas, and then things kind of get crazy. So
Yeah.
the biggest things on this is going to be flat DSM. No, I mean I like the over under thing, but this kind of simplifies it. Although I am seeing less and less servo mounted or chassis mounted servos setups here lately, but still an option. And this is just one iteration. This is actually like I don't really necessarily want to call it. I've never really asked your opinion on this, Brett, but I was not really wanting to reference C1, C2, or C3.
I was kind of thinking that the other day. I'm like, I mean, we were kind of doing that just in the chats and stuff like that. But yeah. So one thing for everybody also, if you line up the front bumper mounting holes on that particular chassis to a high-low, you're gonna the belly area is like a quarter inch higher. It's a little bit more rearward. The front of the skid is more rearward, but like the rear lower link hole is going to be in the same place as the rear lower link hole in a high-low. So it's going to look like the skid is further back, but it's really not. Like your rear lower link is dead in line. But that allows you to get rid of that big knuckle at the bottom of the skid, bottom front of the skid. So you have a lot less area to hang up on that stuff. And the skid is drastically narrower than even our mini skid is.
Yeah, so to get into like the nitty gritty, there is a substantial amount of clearances like gained out of this platform. Everything's smoothed out, everything's refined. This is just the frame rail of our. I'm just gonna call like I don't know. I was thinking like I kind of like the classes like at Crawlpalooza. You get your trail modified and unlimited, right? Can't really remember.
Yeah, I think so.
But
I don't. Yeah, the trail. I don't think trail for C1 is what it should be. But
this is our. So I got the C3. This is kind of like the wild one. This one's been definitely through like the team, through Jake and like his crew. Because I was kind of like not really impressed with like the first iterations I had of the C3. I wasn't like nothing like stood out to it. I didn't really find it like too like wild or anything. So when we got kind of like we got into this realm, and I was like, all right, this looks kind of sick.
it's still got a nice long back half too, though. So like you're not running 3-inch long rear bumpers to get a bumper outside the body. Your overall length of the chassis is still a good length. as far as being able to run wheelbase length rails.
Rails, yeah. Yeah, a lot of these rule sets, you have to run the rails the length of the rails the length of the wheelbase. So that's why the rear end of this is probably a bit long. Which it isn't long per se, it just appears that way. Some of the like cool stuff, like I've kind of like spent a bunch of time on, is just simple stuff like with most of our frames, we just kind of like have shock mounting positions. Like in my eyes, they're aesthetically pleasing, but there's kind of like no rhyme or reason. Whereas this platform, I made I have a stack of like 3D printed frame sections because I wanted to find a good type like a radius to where when you lean your shock back, you don't lose any ride height, but you still get a supple change in your like spring rate. So your ride height at the very front mount will be the same as if you put it at the rear, but you'll feel there is a difference in the shock spring rate because every little angle on that it shortens it up and it adds just a tad bit of preload. So I have the front and rear hoops matched. So as long as you have your rear hoop in plane with like where your rear axle's at, you'll get the same benefits. Kind of the same deal on the upper link or the upper link mounts. I'm like mildly lazy with sitting on my truck, so I hate readjusting the upper link when I move to get like the amount of anti spot I want. So the link mount holes are at an arc as well, so you shouldn't have to lengthen or shorten the upper link while you're adjusting that, which is nice. These are all just like little things that I think like people haven't really thought of or messed with. So I think those would be really convenient. I'm just trying to make it like super easy for anyone who buys the platform.
Yeah.
Plus, those things kind of stand out too as like a like consumer. Like this is easy. Like
Yeah. Yeah. And then the skids are slotted for the deluxe pattern transmissions.
Correct. Yeah. So I could kind of vent about deluxe and I think VH2. Y'all need to get a standardized bolt pattern. It's ridiculous. It's so
and now freaking Reefs has a different fucking pattern.
different. So get your shit together, please. It's just a little
Yeah,
bit.
can we standardize this, please?
Because it's been honestly, I've had a ton of R&D and feedback on where these slots are, and I don't even think that's quite 100% perfect, but it's very usable given the confinements. Because this skid is as narrow as the cross braces, which I only heard one complaint. Colin, I'm calling you out. Colin doesn't like the narrow skid.
Yeah.
That's the only person I know that doesn't care for it. It's a hit to everyone else, though. Your feedback, very nice, though. still appreciate it.
He had the class 3 in his hands. That is in his hands now would be class 2 legal.
Correct. Yeah. The class 3 super small sliders, body mounts. I was gonna get to like the little accessories in a minute, but I'm trying to standardize because a trend I've been seeing a lot is the carrier bearing, wide assortment, wide variety of them. So I had like prototyped a new design, but I based it off of the same like carrier bearing you can grab off Amazon. It's like $20. Same bolt pattern, everything still works. I foresee that trend not really going away, just because of the benefits of these like super forward weight biased frames. I did make big sliders, big they're molded straight off the frame, so they follow the contour like perfectly. Um, Super smooth. These are the laser printed nylon. Yeah, no, these outstanding quality. I have some that I printed out. Get out from here at home. They've held up. I went through a few iterations to smooth out some of the lines. Although the sliders are huge and there's some sharp edges, with this high belly, you should not be near hitting these on rocks. I know that was a concern we had with the team.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, I don't know. The team's done a pretty good job at input, giving me input, stuff to change. I think these frames have been about on every podium in the Midwest. So that's super like confidence inspiring. For one,
Yeah.
they're kick-ass drivers. For two, just kind of feel like I've kind of made something work here. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jake and Tim both are fantastic drivers, but that doesn't discount the fact that you have to have a chassis that works to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Speaking of deluxe, these fucking OD3 transmissions are just something else.
I like them.
Dude. Okay, I like them, but like, why is it so fucking difficult to put the motor?
Get out this heavy girl. So a lot of people seen this truck. I've converted it over the summer to the Sever. And that's what I've been pretty much testing all summer. Here's your general layout. Pretty tight quarters. This is, I would like to offer these inner fender liners. I kind of talked, me and you kind of talked about it. I think maybe like with the like first pre-order, I think we'll just throw these in.
Yeah, we can just print them in house, and
Yeah, because they don't need to be super robust, and we both have the same printer now, so it's gonna be super consistent. We don't have to worry about like me with my old printer. Not pretty.
yeah, yeah.
Functional, but not pretty.
And the new printer is 6 times faster.
It is, yes. Yeah, actually, these sliders, since this is an oddball, I made these super long just for this body. I forgot I actually did print these out of the carbon PLA, and it looks about like the laser centered nylon.
Yeah.
What else? So yeah, I'll get to like the accessories. That's kind of a. I've been kind of like toying around with like little doodads you can like bolt to the sliders and kind of alter whatever setup you're desired. I had a like small battery tray. These are small batteries. Like I said, this is like a comp style, obviously.
Yeah.
So no one's running like the big 5,000 mod. I would say I think a 2200 would be the biggest you fit in there. Maybe a 2200 like 3S. But ideally something smaller, like under 1,000. Especially with the
Yeah.
4S, you have to check the pack dimensions. Little ESC, like I also did little slots in there. This could be a battery mount also, but just a little ESC thing. Sliders will have the same bolt pattern, so you can swap like the accessory mounts to the other sliders, different platforms. What else? I still drew up some of the like side or the chassis mounted accessory plates, but those are on the shelf over here. Not right here. Even like little fun stuff like a rear mount servo. for like a servo winch, stuff like that. I don't know. Some of that stuff's still in development. There's some fun like ideas I'd like to toy with. I'd like to offer like a complete accessory pack with all the bits all in one.
Yeah.
Um, Ideally, the frame would be like all one kit, since like you're not gonna buy these sliders for anything else,
Right.
because I don't think there is another production skid on the market that matches this bolt pattern. So these are just sole proprietary for this platform. So I don't think it makes sense to sell them separately. Because what I feel like you would do if you did buy just the frame or skid, you would ultimately end up be buying the sliders and saddles too. Um,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't personally run sliders very often anymore. I try to mount everything inside the chassis rails now. So, I mean, people might not want the sliders to be included, but
you will get like with the class 3, you'll definitely get some space issues. I think you might have to do stuff on the outside. Because the transmission and everything's gonna be so. That's why I don't have the accessory tray on this frame, because it would probably contact the motor if I had the motor and trans in here.
yeah.
Maybe on the other frames you could get away with it. But
Yeah. Can I buy the file for the inner fenders so I can print them in ABS so when I forget to take the truck out of my truck, it doesn't warp? So I've already got on the website a page set up for 3D files. The Royal We, just haven't gone through our cache of files to see what we want to put up and what we don't want to put up. So that will be something that should be available. Would be the inner fenders or things like that.
I would put I gave this thought. I would probably rework that file then, because I thought the same thing, but then I do have. So I'm gonna be pretty like adamant about how cool the like shock tuning function of these hoops are. So I will probably delete um, a lot of the bolt holes out of this, because I just matched all of the shock holes to this. So
Yeah.
I don't think
Getting rid
anybody's
of
gonna steal it, but realistically, someone could just buy that file with ill interest
I don't
and
think
just steal that bolt pattern. Because I
yeah,
would be kind of upset on that. So I could
yeah.
alter the file so you don't get like the exact bolt pattern, but it could happen. It could probably be an option. But right here, like as they are now, I wouldn't put it on the internet.
Well, but anyway, there will be other files available
Yeah.
uh, for other past projects and whatever that need to go up anyway. Was that a slotted skid? Yes, that's a slotted skid. It's T slotted on each end and then a single slot down the center.
Yeah, it fits the OD3 and the portal and straight axle trans really well. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know the bolt pattern on the reefs. And I'm not gonna honestly design a whole different thing just because everyone wants to come out with a different bolt pattern, different transmission every 6 months. So you can drill a hole or complain to your transmission provider. So
Yeah.
there's that. I'm just, dude. I think I have like a dozen different skid files.
Yeah. I
It's
can
such a
go
nightmare.
through my computer right now through
Such a
all the
nightmare.
vendors I make skids for and count the number of different skids. Dude,
Stupid.
mind blowing.
To get that off my chest, I can't believe it. The transmissions will have the same like exterior sizes, but you flip them over and they're completely different bolt patterns, and you're like, why?
Yeah. Is that a cactus cooler? I don't know what that means.
This no, this is a no. I'm so I've been doing like the races and stuff so much that I've kind of noticed if I do like if I stop drinking like beers during the week, I feel better, right? So this is the lame. This is an NA.
Tim, yes, you can post them. You have Josh's moon buggy send cut send parts, but you also have his Bender metal parts. So for international customers, yes, I can provide Benders and the Jimmy's buggy parts, and now I don't have the Rockabilly file yet. I do have the Rockabilly file. I do have the Rockabilly file, so I should be able to do all of them for international people only. This is not for people in the United States. If you're in the United States and Canada, you have to order through Josh's links to send cut send. Period.
Yeah.
Reefs has a transmission adapter file for everything. Yeah, but you have to drill your own holes.
Perfect. They can you can drill your holes for it.
Yeah.
So also here's another gripe. If we're gonna be making skids to fit a product, send us a transmission to model up. I'm not buying $150 transmission to make one product, and you're buying half a dozen transmissions that I'll probably never use.
Yeah. Like I said, if I went through my files in my, if I opened up Fusion right now and went through all the vendors that I make skid plates for or have made skid plates for and counted them all out, I bet you there's no less than 24 different. Someone's off their fucking rocker. That's a Harley.
Oh, that's a Harley. Sick. And he's trying to drum up some business for you. Wait, what? How cold is it?
That's what I said. This dude's off his rocker. It is. Well, it was raining when I came in. It is 44. Feels like 36
Nah,
and
dude.
sprinkling.
and raining.
Dude.
But yeah, man. I'm pretty excited about this. I've kept it like pretty tight-lipped. Unless you've been going to the comps and was it Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma. But I think it's to the point to where enough people have seen it and they've messaged like not only the like page but like my own personal messages enough to where all right, well like let people know.
Yeah.
I do think this is ready for production. I think there was one minor like this, for example, this frame I didn't have the like dual row for the upper mounts, but I've since then added the dual row. Just a couple little tweaks.
I need to tweak the skid file.
I need to send you the tweak files.
I need to tweak the skid file because I chamfered one edge on each side of the skid that shouldn't have been chamfered.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But
They
ideally,
were prototypes.
I'm kind of thinking maybe like a mid-December release. I was gonna say like 2025, but I think maybe mid-December would be cool. Maybe like a pre-order to where first of the year they're going to your door. I think we're still kind of we're trying to figure out what is the best like rule bases. I think 12.5 to 12.8 is a good wheelbase, but I know a lot of our team drivers run longer, but that's because they do a lot of vertical climbing. So the link lengths they've given us kind of isn't really. it's
helpful. It is absolutely helpful.
But yeah, I have to like build this. I have to build the like prototype trucks as more of like a production Like I don't have this isn't the wildest thing by any means, but this is gonna be like a production, the like the the best average of the market, right?
Yeah. 13 is the new 12 and a half.
Man, if you 10 years ago, I was like, dude, 12.3 wheelbase, that's huge.
Yeah.
Now look,
Yeah. Remember when switching from the
the
Dingo to a
Dingo
Honcho? Like,
1175
Jesus.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Carbon or just aluminum. They'll be both.
Yeah. So I've been also toying around with upping the quality of the aluminum. I think I'm gonna do 6061. It's just more rigid. Um, I gotta see what the cost is and differentiate. I think you can still get away with the 5000 series aluminum on like the rear shock tabs and definitely the like accessory trays. But I think the
Yeah.
actual frame rails, the 6061 is gonna be a bit more rigid.
Yeah.
I I want to say lighter. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't think it matters enough.
Um, Jake, one of our team drivers, I did 775 for him. It was his request, his idea, completely his idea. Um, I got a text later saying that one hole, because of course, he adds a little bit extra stuff in there. He drilled a couple holes for things he was putting on. One hole equaled one DeWalt drill bit. So I think 775 is probably a bit overkill.
I mean, a new DeWalt drill bit?
He said he went through. If he's in here, let me know. It was either 4 or 6 drill bits. So
I
I
think
was
I would
trying.
have bought a different brand of drill bit. Good golly.
Hey, maybe he had the 4 pack. I don't know, dude. I don't buy people's drill bits. But anyway, yeah. My point is something to where if you had to modify it, it's not too ridiculous. So,
Yeah. I feel like rigid is a poke at mine. That's because you don't run freaking chassis braces.
yeah, that's all of them that I see that get tweaked have like 2 of these on the whole frame, and I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah,
So I mean,
you need
like
three, you need five of those.
anywhere possible, and that's recommended even with carbon. Doesn't matter. Um,
Yeah,
it's it's when you run like 1 or 2 of these, you're playing with fire, and I feel like you know you're playing with fire. But if you're not a jerk and you message us, we usually do right by everyone. So I don't think there's
yeah,
someone that we did just flat out neglected and was like, no. I don't think there's
yeah.
not one. But yeah, yeah, maybe you had
DeWalt
DeWalt
Cobalt.
Cobalt.
Whatever it wasn't the right bit. That's for sure.
Maybe it was a Dollar Tree.
Yeah,
Who knows? But yeah, I don't know. I think 75, 70, 75 for the cost is probably a bit overkill.
yeah. 70-75 is it's overkill in general. I saw somebody mention earlier when we were talking about this OD3 being difficult, mentioning having to grind the stumpy shaft, the deluxe stumpy shaft to make it fit in the trans. And I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing because I have the Holmes Hobbies 380 revolver that I was trying to install. And of course, it doesn't fucking fit either. The motor shaft's too long.
Oh man, we're just griping about transmissions tonight.
Dude.
They're
Well, you
buttery
know,
smooth. The quality, I don't know. It's good. I
it's
like it.
it's
I like it.
yeah, but uh,
Um,
Brett laughs because he has a machine shop at his disposal and just chucks it in a lathe or a drill press. Um, I do really like having machines here, but I get more and more people are figuring out that I have these machines, but people don't understand what these machines really are. And like my dad was at the Harley shop because my dad has a Harley. So my dad was at the Harley shop, and lead mechanic down there, Brian, hands my dad a socket that like he had to grind down the diameter of to fit inside a specific wheel. And he's like, I use this socket all the time, but it's not round, and I hate this, so I want this socket turned down nicely. And my dad's like, oh, yeah, he can do that, no big deal. I'm like, dude, you know how much dicking around it is to turn down a socket on a CNC lathe? Like, this isn't an old South Bend lathe you just hand crank shit together. Like, this, it doesn't work like that. And people that come in and there's a guy, same thing, the Harley shop sends a guy over here with a billet aluminum gas cap that's like the shape of a 12-point headed bolt. And he wants me to machine ARP in the top of it so that it matches the rest of his ARP hardware on his bike, which he has had me. This tool right here is threaded so that I could turn down the shoulder on some ARP bolts for this same guy. And again, it's like, man, you guys realize how much screwing around it is for me to do it? Like, I programmed the damn socket. Like, I could have made a whole socket, like, in the same amount of time as it takes to turn down and modify an existing socket. And no, they're not. It was not an impact socket. It was just a standard chrome socket. And actually, well, thankfully, the socket he gave me was an old snap-on socket that wasn't chromed. So it's just, now he doesn't have to worry about the chrome chipping off in the places that it's not turned down. I made it happen, but like, right. Annoying. What are we calling the new chassis? Sever. Sever is the product line. We still have to figure out what we're going to designate each of the 3 chassis.
Yeah, what's a good C1 name? Daily. Dude, so that you guys will find. So how many names did I send you to see your thoughts on these?
Dozens.
Naming stuff, honestly, I think I had more. I think I went back and forth more with that than I did designing any of this stuff.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, that's why my dog's name's Bear. It's not. Simple. That's what he looks like.
Yeah. What's with the super long motor wires? They end up looping around the truck while you get the truck set up and then shorten them. So you can get heat conductivity. They can pull heat away from the motor. So that can be part of it. The other part of it is if they made the motor wires super short, everybody would complain that they're too short and they can't put their ESC where they want. It's much, much, much easier for people to shorten a motor wire than it is to make them longer. So could you imagine people having to take apart a brushless motor and solder to the board or to the coils?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Outrunner one. No, I don't want to mess with that. Give me 1 foot cables that I can shorten up as I see fit.
Yeah, so the annoyance though for me is you've got these nice, gold-plated bullet connectors. Mm-hmm. I don't want to cut the wire and shorten it and solder it back together. If I'm going to cut these, I'm just chopping this shit off and direct soldering it to the ESC. But it's so nice having bullet connectors to be able to unplug the stuff.
The Outrunner motor, I think I have some team spec or something on there. The 3 wires don't come off at like a actual in a flat fashion. They're just kind of like a hair tie. So like it'd be a multi-step procedure to make sure you have the 3 wires in the right order on the ESC if you just solder them straight to the board.
one thing I did do last weekend was I put my Pro Mod back together, which I rewired the entire truck. So if you've ever built a buggy, you know how difficult it is to hide wiring in these things. There's basically nowhere to hide wires. So in this truck, there is 2 dig servos, the steering servo, BEC, the receiver, and the speed control. And other than this servo wire right here, that's the only wire you can see in the whole truck. You can see that servo horn behind the seat, but even underneath the truck,
It's clean.
you can't see any wiring. Well, I guess you can currently in this picture because everything is attached to the bottom of the dash. Like even the servo wires coming from the servo, they go onto the front upper link, and they're heat shrinked to the upper link, so you
Right.
can't even see them. Like you can see the little bit of a loop they do right out of the front of the servo, but otherwise you can't see even the front fog lights. Like all the wiring is tucked.
That's why you guys don't have wheels. He's tucking wires.
Yeah, I'm over here tucking wires. But dude, this took 2 whole days
Yeah.
between shortening wires and putting new connectors on and printing the dash and getting everything attached to the bottom of the dash. I can see the motor. Okay, yeah, you can see the motor. You want to know why you can see that motor? Because Josh designed a engine to go around everything, but he designed it around a 52 tooth spur gear, and I have a 60. Speaking of Josh, there he is. Right when I'm talking mean about him, freaking guy.
I just put up the beacon of light in the sky, and he looked up and
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. But anyway, so it was totally on purpose. Yeah. So anyway, I put this back together so I could drive it again because this truck really is fun to drive.
Now he's talking.
Colorado-
nice.
Yeah, Colorado Adventure
It's
Club. So I
fun. This is
assume
the best truck I've ever driven.
it is a really fun truck to drive. But like I said, I spent so much time over the last couple days rewiring it to where I said you can see a servo horn, you can see a 1/2 inch of a servo wire, and you can see the electric motor. So yeah, super cool. Colorado Adventure Club. I assume that you ordered either these teeny tiny little BECs or the other ones that I showed. There's one BEC that I run, and then this is the other one. So these are super nice for running light electronics. Are you running Traxxas big bores with mini T's? No, these are deluxe shorts, deluxe shorts with mini T springs. So yeah, I can't run the scale engine because I can't. But with the inner fenders in there, you couldn't really see it anyway, so whatever. Anyway, what else you guys got? We got a couple minutes left. I'm going to take both of these trucks and go drive over the next couple days also. Over the weekend, probably. Yeah. Change your damn spur. No, I'm not changing my spur. I think the 52 was way too fast, and I wanted more low end control. So even with the 56, I wanted more low end control. I run 4S, so 52 is way fast. So I wanted to go run a 60, which almost touches this hood, by the way. It's it doesn't. It's close, but it doesn't.
Being different's never easy, right?
Yeah. I do need to do something with the driver's seat. I had to do a lot of hacking and cutting on it to um, clear the dig servo stuff. So it's a little loose. What pinion? 11? I believe it is an 11. It is either a 10 or an 11. Let's see. It is a 10 tooth pinion. So it's 1060 currently. I'm running 5211. No. Did you say a price range of the new chassis will be? No, not yet. Since it will be more of a kit, the price will be higher than just a normal pair of chassis rails. But you'll be receiving, depending on the package, you'll be receiving a pair of rails, a skid plate, rear shock hoops. The class 1 and class 2 would be dual servo mount, panhard mount, that type of stuff. So the price will be a little elevated, but you're receiving much more with it.
Right.
And then we'll have the accessory trays and whatnot also. And yes, there will be a flat skid one. Parallel
yeah.
flat skid, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so there'll be like a couple things. Like we're talking about like the first batch fully loaded with like the accessories, your battery mount, ESC mount, printed inner fender wells. That'd be kind of fun. The carrier bearing, probably just put up a link through like Amazon or wherever everyone's buying the universal one, like what I have here. Because this prototype one, I don't think the nylon printed would hold up long term. So I don't want to like say that that's going to be part of the kit.
No. Plus, doing those requires supplying bearings and another little shaft too. So
I think it's a pretty
the Amazon
universal
ones include
size-
all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty universal size bearing, but it's the little center shaft with the E clips that we would have to
Yep.
machine or source somewhere. And then again, we're trying to keep like all of our production stuff made and designed all here in the US. So that's where like the gray area of like I don't really want to sell the carrier bearing because now we're just buying a bunch of like Chinese stuff. So I was really trying to avoid anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'll put up stuff on our fan page, some more little teasers. But yeah, C1, 2, and 3, all pretty vastly different. C1 and 2, the only difference really is this actual skid plate angle. I still have the sliders following the same slope, so kind of a little gray area. They'll make a rule about it. That's why we're not really catering to this Orca stuff, because the moment any innovation comes out and someone gets beat in a comp is when the live rules are enacted.
They don't even have to. You don't even have to release it yet before they'll start talking about banning it. So
Yeah, so that's why this is the Sever. We're just in it to have fun now, man. I'm pretty excited for this platform. Everyone can get like just the building, having fun.
yeah, for sure.
I did want to put out. I think there is enough room in the front of these. Since I think Josh still might be here, I think I can fit some leaf springs in the front of this. So
I heard they outlawed these already.
yeah, they're already gone.
No, they'll make another private group for vendors only that we have to join.
Yeah. What do you all think about this?
Yeah. This is a targeted attack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more plans for C1 leafers? I'm sure there will be more C1 leafers. It's just
Yeah, so I think long term, I think like kind of like what we talked about this series because it's a 1, 2, and 3 class coverage. Probably the high low is going to be kind of finding its way to the door, and like the mullets. I think eventually, like I said, I kind of want to convert one of these to leaf spring just to make sure everything jives, but. I think just this and then our like factory upgraded frames. That way we can simplify our lineup so we don't have 12 or 15 frames or whatever we're at now.
yeah, it's a lot.
So I think some people might get a little like not confused, but maybe overwhelmed because we've made so much to cater to like anybody's build. Now there's like if you had no idea what you wanted to build and you hopped on our site, you'd be like,
Yeah.
where do I
Where do I
begin?
start? Yeah.
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 So I don't know if we can simplify that. I think it'd be nice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's 3 chassis for the Vanquish platform, for the VRD platform. There's 2 for the SCX10 Pro platform, so that's 5. The ATL Pro V2, the C1 Pro, all 3 mullets, that's 10. The high-low, the C1
And
leafer,
the 6x6.
and the 6x6.
We got a lot.
There's 13. There's 13 right there. So, yeah, there's a lot. And then these 3. So,
Yeah.
16. It's a lot.
I think we can trim some fat.
Yeah. Estimated is mid-December ish.
One thing I will note, one of the key things while like making this platform work was I wanted to kind of keep the high-low length links. That way everyone still had like a general idea. The only one that really didn't work was the rear lower links. So I know you were talking about how you were trying to like get it to feed that much material because it is maybe an inch longer. I don't I didn't really calculate how much longer. I just made mine work.
Yeah.
But I
On
do
the
have
210, 187 to 210 millimeters, somewhere in there on the rear lowers,
about an
depending
inch.
on your wheelbase.
Yeah.
So, and I think the throw on my Swiss is like 135 or something like that. I'm like, Farfignugan.
Yeah. But
Seems like the perfect marriage of the ATL Pro, of the ATL and the high low. It kind of is. Kind of C1 Pro and high low mix.
yeah, we like I don't know, we took all the like best attributes of those and just smashed it into one. So
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be so I don't want to be too cocky, but like the team in the Midwest like just gave me like a performance like confidence boost because I was like, dude, I think we're on to something pretty good here. So the
Yeah.
success that they've had locally with this platform is pretty nice. And I don't know if they have the latest and great. I think they're on prototypes, so there's like some small iterations that are different. So they've been
Yeah.
subtly improved upon since then. So
Yep. There were plenty of them on podiums at Apex and Crawlpalooza. So
then there's a bunch of like those little cash comps. Dude, Jake's
that
won a
too.
bunch of money. Jake's won some money this year.
Yeah, for sure.
You're welcome, Jake.
Yeah.
Where's my cut, dude? The
Yeah,
heck?
we need that 10%.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyway.
Anywho, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'll put up some of those teaser pics probably on the fan page, but I think I'll just put up the link to this so we can get a couple more views on this
Yeah.
for those who want to see.
Yeah, Jake from State Farm. Chris without a microwave. I remember that. I remember that conversation from a Harley stream. Anyway, all right, it's time for me to get the hell out of here. I need to go home and take some more Advil.
I need
Get
to
this
eat
headache to
something.
go away before bed.
The transmission's got me hangry.
Yeah, I will wait till tomorrow to cut this motor shaft down so that it fits inside the stupid transmission. Whatever. Anyway, thanks everybody for another Monday. Have a good Thanksgiving. Eat too much turkey. Pass out on the couch.
Yeah, fall
Actually,
asleep.
floor naps on Thanksgiving.
Watch sports ball, flush the toilet at the same time, clog up all your local
Clog up
reservoirs.
everything. Yep.
Oh man.
So, all right.
Take it
Next
easy.
Monday. Later.